When I found out this house was for sale, I called my mom, told her about the ad, and she reminded me as we were talking. She was like, Jared, that house had a giant crack down the side of the brick. It looked like the house was going to kind of fall apart. Looking at the foundation is the single biggest part of a project like this. And so it's kind of fun because as you look at this, this has such a tie into how we live our life. How you set up your base, how you build your foundation is going to play a role in every aspect and everything you do as you move forward. Okay, so foundation is jacked up. They're removing the spacers that were placed on top of the original brick pillars. The brick pillars sunk into the ground. You can see how easy he just pulled the entire brick pillar out. It was sitting on dirt. There was literally nothing underneath it. So as the brick pillars sunk into the ground, they separated from the house beams, which is why the house actually started sinking. Even after all of those different repairs over the last, who knows, 70, 100 years, you still had a house with ridiculously uneven floors. You had main beams for the floors that were entirely rotted away. You had spanners running across those beams that weren't even secured to anything, that had ridiculous termite damage that I am unsure how some of those were even holding anything up. But as those pillars began to sink into the ground, they just jacked the house up, added some concrete blocks on top, to the point where most of them had sunk at least 7 inches. Now that everything's out of the way, he's digging a hole. We're going to fill it full of concrete and put in a 4x4 pressure treated post that won't rot away and also won't sink because of the concrete and everything else.
And that's high pressure concrete, 8,000 PSI.
8,000 PSI high pressure concrete.
So loose dirt, see how tight that is?
Yep.
That's how we know that we have over a 90% compaction off the native soil.
Oh, too much dust.
And that's good. Thank you.
Troy actually volunteered for this terrible job, Derek.
Yes, I did. This was too exciting to pass up.
It will be really fun. Once the hole was dug, we put in 2 bags of concrete. As the concrete began to harden, we would insert our heat galvanized brackets into the concrete that were designed to hold the 4x4 post. Very nice.
So that's heat galvanized instead of a spray cold galvanized. So it actually oxidizes to the metal. It won't rust out. That's what we're looking for. Waiting for an invitation?
Yeah.
You want a written one?
Yeah.
And we're just gonna get the tapper in. Give it a little tappy. Give it a little tappy. This is why it's nice to do it when it's still wet. Then you can square it up.
Based on everything we found, I'm not sure they had levels and squares in 1820. Just kidding, they did. They just didn't use them.
And we have enough pressure built up where we can finally rest our jack and let it rest onto the concrete. Remember that you jacked your home up, so you need to account for that with your cut. You don't want to set it at what the height is. You need to reduce whatever you went up. We went up 1/8 of an inch. Because of the bolt and because it doesn't sit, we took a 1/2 inch off our measurement. And now when we rest it, we're gonna go right back down to where the house needs to be. So our floor will be level.
David Brinkley said, "A successful man is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks that are thrown at him." And so the foundation that you have, whether it's for this house, for your company, even for your family, for a weightlifting endeavor, a hobby, any of these type of things, is going to determine your overall success in building the rest of the house. Now, the sad thing is, no one's ever going to see all of that stuff that we removed. Nobody's going to see how we sealed and insulated the crawl space, how we put down the vapor barrier, how we treated and prevented radon. No one's going to see all of the things that we are doing, other than you guys that are going to watch it. No one else is really ever going to see the effort that we are putting into building the foundation of this house. But getting this foundation built is going to make sure that this house can stay in my family, hopefully for another 100 years. can be passed down gladly to my kids or a grandkid or whoever it might be that wants to come and continue the family legacy, live in the house where James Abel Roberts and Willie Roberts died, continue to farm the ground that has been farmed by our family for generations. And it'll all be built on a foundation that no one's going to see. But it's worth it, because this is what's going to determine if it stands the test of time or not. This is what's going to determine how long this stays a nice place to live, is the work we put in now into the foundation. Understand that you guys are probably the only people who are going to truly understand the effort that got put into ensuring that this house, instead of being torn down like most people would have done to this place, can stand another 100 years and can continue to live on in its rich history.